I garden alongside some really good mates. There's Squiddy, and of course, the girls are great company too. And just like people, I reckon that lots of plant species are happier, healthier, and more productive when they've got company. Basil and tomatoes are the classic companions in the garden. Some people say that the fragrance of the basil foliage is a really good deterrent for many of the pests of tomatoes, and other people swear that it's that combination of flavours in the kitchen that is why they're planted together. I suspect that these flowers on the basil, well, they're fantastic attraction for pollinating insects of the tomatoes. I reckon that might be the reason that they're such old friends. But really, the art of companion planting has one foot firmly in science and the other in gardening practice and even folklore. While there might be some debate about the effect of one plant on another or how they work, there is no debating that there is a benefit of bringing biodiversity into the garden. And for that, you need more plants. About a year ago, I set myself a new companion planting rule. For every 10 food plants I put in the ground, I'm meant to plant at least one flower. You can see here I've got lettuce interplanted with Alyssum. It's a really common plant, but it's also a fantastic plant for attracting predators. Hoverflies in particular come to feast on those tiny little nectar-filled flowers. And the hoverfly babies, well, they'll take care of any aphids that turn up on my lettuce. While I have been trying, the truth is that my floral diversity, well, it's failing a little. So it's time to renovate my rolling, predator and pollinator attractor. If you're after a general companion for the garden, you can't go past the daisy family. Of course, they're really good at bringing in beneficial insects because what we see as a single daisy flower is actually made up of hundreds of flowers. Tiny little ones that are full of nectar, full of pollen, and that means a really big reward for anyone who comes to visit. Of course, there's big showy ones, things like the sunflower, these gorgeous echinacea and the native brassicas. But there are also plenty of plants that you can use in the veggie garden. Your lettuce is a daisy. Let it run to flower. Chicory, it produces the most beautiful blue bloom. You can even let a few of your artichoke buds form flowers because they're very popular with the bees. One of the other fantastic groups of plants for bringing in the beneficials are anything that produces its flowers in an umbel, usually a nice flat shape, or in the case of the onions, quite a spherical form. And the reason this works so well is that one of the ways that insects find their favourites is by their shape, their silhouette, and so they can see these from a mile away. Of course, there's lots of common plants, things like fennel and dill, herbs like parsley, celery, and one of my very, very favourites, coriander. Now, it's a really good time to get this in the ground right now. It means you'll get a nice long harvest through the winter time. I'm going to sprinkle a few seeds in here, which means as well as the beneficials getting a feed, I might get one too. Another great group of companions are the mint family. Things like lavenders, salvias, and my catmint, which I've got along the drive. It's an absolute landing strip for any insect that wants to pollinate my fruit trees or my raspberries. Another relative is rosemary, which produces its flowers in the winter months. Great to keep those beneficials coming in all year round. But alongside other aromatic plants, it has another companion superpower. A lot of pest insects can be thrown off the scent of their target plant with the presence of other aromas. And so rosemary is a really pungent plant. If you mix a lot of aromatic plants in amongst the crops that might be susceptible, then you can confuse the pests. Planting a diverse range of things can also help to confuse pests by making it hard to find things. Here I've got this wall of amaranth, which is offering shelter to the chilies and the tomatoes behind it. It's a completely different silhouette to what the pest insects might be looking for. As well as offering a little bit of shelter from the hottest part of the day, I reckon all in all, these guys are good mates. The cooler months are coming, and that means it's time for brassicas, but it also means it's time for caterpillar control, which is a real challenge to a lot of organic gardeners. This is land cress. It's absolutely irresistible to the pests of most brassicas. The butterflies are always drawn to it over them, and they'll lay their eggs and fly away happy. Their larvae cannot persist on this plant. As soon as they hatch those eggs, they start feeding, they'll actually die. Of course, those seed aren't going to protect anything while they're germinating away. So in the short term, I'm going to put on a little wire cage and some net curtain, and that should keep the butterflies off those broccoli. Companion planting isn't always an exact science, and it won't solve all of your problems. But there's no doubting that planting more species and building biodiversity works. There is always more room for mates in the garden. Right, Squid? Squid, where are you, Squid?